Hey there, good to be with you once again. Once again, I'm going to show you some vinyl finds. These are finds I got from a recent trip in LA. I visited Amoeba Music in Hollywood. It seems like I go to LA every 2 to 3 months now, but there's a good reason to go this time. I went to go see some concerts on a Thursday and Friday night. Went to go see Kristen Control. That's who we're listening to in the background. Here's her album. Kristen Control, she used to go by the name of Dee Dee from the band Dum Dum Girls, and she broke up the band Dum Dum Girls and decided to go out on her own. And her new stage name is Kristen Control. And this album is called Excommunicate. And it's a combination of electronic music and pop music, which we're hearing in the background. I bought this in August, my last trip to LA. Bought this at Amoeba there, and I've been spinning it ever since. I'm pretty much addicted to this album. It's really good, really catchy, and she was doing 2 concerts in LA, so I bought tickets to both of them and couldn't wait. Naturally, I was excited to see it because I'm such a fan of this album. So her first show was in downtown LA, and that was a crazy night because all the protesters protesting against President-elect Donald Trump, they all took the streets of downtown LA, just blocks from where I went to go see my concert. So there's thousands of protesters, an army of policemen waiting to bust them all. Not a good time to be driving to LA to go see a concert downtown LA. Started at a little club called The Resident, and that was a great time. It's my first time ever being there. Her and Night Jewel. And that was just a great show. I was so excited to see it. Got to meet Kristen Control, talk to her a little bit. Didn't take any pictures or anything like that. She didn't want to bug her with that crap. But I got to talk to her, and it was cool. So before going to the concert, I went to Amoeba Music. Here's my Amoeba bag. The Kristen Control concert was really good. Her opening act that night was Night Jewel, and here's her album right here. This is Night Jewel's album. It's called Liquid Cool. Got this in good old Amoeba. Here's the Amoeba bag, like I said, and scored this album. Night Jewel is based out of LA artist, so she was a popular local artist. So there was a lot of people there to see her as well as Kristen Control. This is a great album. I love this album. It's a fun, catchy album. Night Jewel does a combination of R&B, pop, and electronic music. It's very synth-heavy, very synth-pop sounding because she is a keyboard player herself. Writes all the music, programs it, plays it live with 2 guys in the band. I'll show you the insert of her record with a really colorful photo. The back is just lyrics, nothing special. A really good album. I love the song Boo Hoo. I actually posted Night Jewel performing it live at The Resident last week on my channel, so go back to the last couple of videos and you'll see it. Night Jewel performing Boo Hoo. That's one of her singles from this album. She had the crowd, since she was a LA-based musician, she had the local crowd behind her, and a lot of people were so excited to see her. It was my first time seeing her. I barely heard of her by the time I went to the show, and she sold me. She's real fun on stage, has a great sense of humor, real loose, keeps the crowd loose, and this is a real catchy album. So like when you listen to these songs, you're automatically hooked because they're so catchy, and being R&B influenced and synth pop driven music, it was right up my alley. I love this album. So Night Jewel, Liquid Cool was one of the albums I got in Amoeba. Before going to the concert, I did a massive dig there. So here's what I pulled out of Amoeba Hollywood before going to the concert. The Alan Parsons Symphonic Project, live from Columbia. So the classic Alan Parsons Project songs, the band playing along with a symphony in Columbia. I was really surprised to see this. I did not know it was even out. Was not aware of this album, so real glad I got it, and I've already spun it a couple of times because it sounds that good. This thing sounds awesome. With that symphony orchestra, the band sounds amazing. These songs really come to life. They sound gorgeous on this record. It's a 2-record set. All the labels look like that. Really good live recording. I noticed in this dig, you'll notice most if not all the albums are live recordings. Not too many studio recordings in this batch of records, but man, what a great album this is. Really enjoyed this. I have a lot of Alan Parsons Project records, and so this was kind of a must for me. I saw this and had to grab it, and glad I did because, like I said, Damned If I Do, Don't Answer Me, iRobot, Breakdown, The Raven, Time, I Wouldn't Want to Be Like You, Serious, Games People Play, Eye in the Sky. There's so many good songs on here. And like I said, with the symphony, it really brings the music to life. It just sounds so epic. Just a gorgeous sounding record. Really good live recording. So glad I got this. It was like one of the highlights of my dig. Another live recording coming up from Rage Against the Machine live at the Grand Olympic Auditorium. Live recording from Rage Against the Machine. Never owned this on CD ever. I've seen this around so many times, and I'm such a big fan of Rage Against the Machine. I don't know why I never got it. So this is the first time I ever owned this. This is a music on vinyl release. So there we go. I can't. There we go. Now you can see it. Really great live recording. It has all the songs that I absolutely love from Rage Against the Machine. One of my favorite 90s bands. Their songs are just so addicting. You get addicted to these songs. At least I do. There's no way you can listen to them and not bang your head or something like that, or just jump up and down or something. They work you up. These songs really work you up into a frenzy, and this is such a great live recording. Another one I'm glad I pulled out of Amoeba. It's just a great album. Great album. I don't see this one in the stores around here. So every time I go to Amoeba, I always try to get records that I don't see in my hometown. It's just that's how I roll. And I never see this in my part of the woods. So this was a good find for me. Like I say, being such a huge fan, especially Sleep Now in the Fire and People of the Sun, Bulls on Parade. Oh my God, this is just a Killing in the Name, just to name a few. The whole thing is badass. This whole album is just absolutely a knockout punch. Good times when you listen to this thing. Good times. And I am so glad I'm adding this to my 90s vinyl collection, because this is just one of those albums I never get tired of. I could tell. I've spun it 2 times already. The whole thing. It's a 2-record set. And I could tell I'm never going to get tired of this album. I just love it to death. So, Rage Against the Machine live recording on vinyl. A big record in my collection for me. Alright, yet another live recording. This is from Prince. These are these bootlegs that have been coming out in the last couple of weeks or so. Prince Purple Rain in New York, Volume 2 at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, New York, March 30th of the year 1985. Now, I'm sure bootlegs like this is the very thing when Prince was alive he was fighting against so badly. He was not a fan of releasing bootlegs of his concerts of the past, and I see why. The mix on this is not the best. It is pretty rough. It's pretty rough, all right? But it's a great concert. I mean, you could actually look up this concert on YouTube. They have the whole thing. I think it's like 2 hours long. Really good. To give you an idea of what the sound mix sounds like, just watch that video. And you'll say, oh, no wonder he didn't want this released. I don't blame him. It's not the best. It's not the best mix for a live recording. And Prince being such a perfectionist, I'm sure you heard it's like, this ain't going out there. But know that he's gone. I guess it's on colored vinyl. Now that he's gone, I guess he can't keep from these things being released, because here they are. There's a bunch of these bootlegs that came out. I couldn't find Volume 1. This is Volume 2. But the track listing is so great, and I'm a big fan of the album Purple Rain. So it has none but Purple Rain tracks on it. Side A has Computer Blue, Darling Nikki, The Beautiful Ones, When Doves Cry, and I Would Die For You. The B side has a really long version of Baby I'm a Star and a really long version of Purple Rain. And it sounds fantastic. It's a great, they captured a great live performance on this album. Unfortunately, the mix is not so great. But when I listen to a lot of bootlegs. I collect a lot of bootlegs from different bands and artists. And as far as bootleg standards go, this is not bad. It's pretty good actually. But if you're used to listening to quality live recordings such as this and Alan Parsons, it doesn't hold up at all. So like I said, I see why Prince fought against the release of those types of bootlegs, but it is a great concert. So if you want to hear just a great concert from Prince and you're not really that fussy about the live mix, those are actually pretty good to get. Okay, another album that's a live recording and the mix is not so great, but I still want it anyway, is from Primus. This is called Primus in Numbers. Primus in Numbers, and this is a live recording that Primus did way back in 1989 at the Stanford University college radio station back in 89, actually May 3rd of 89, from Stanford University. Now, I've seen videos of this online, and now I have it on a record, which is pretty cool. It plays at 45 speed. There's the back of it, and pretty cool. And there's the gatefold. Tells a little story of the recording they did at a college radio station, Stanford University, back in '89. Really good stuff on here. The intro to YYZ, which goes into John the Fisherman. That's a really great transition there. Groundhog's Day, Tommy the Cat, a lot of interview segments. Just to name a few songs that are on here, and you get to hear Les Claypool cracking his jokes, and he's actually quite a funny guy. And it's on clear vinyl. Here we go. So there is the record. It's on clear vinyl, plays at 45 speed. Again, not the greatest sound mix, but then again, it's a radio broadcast, a college radio broadcast. It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not bad either. It's just, if you're a Primus fan, certain things like these are cool to have. And like I said, I've seen the video a few times of their radio show at Stanford University, so it's really nice to have this on a record. So really cool that I scored that one. All right, I got a couple albums from Tesla. Living so close to Sacramento, that's where Tesla's from. Naturally, I am a fan of Tesla. I've seen them live a couple of times, and they always put on a great show. So you always get your money's worth when you see Tesla live. So the first album I got of theirs is Psychotic Supper. This is the 25th anniversary pressing of the album. Now, when this was first released, I had it on a cassette and really loved the album, played it a lot, and then my tape deck ate it up to shreds, and I never rebought it. And now here we are, so many years later, I finally rebought it, and this time I bought it on vinyl. I did it the right way. This is a really good album. I remember the first song I heard on here was Edison's Medicine and loved it. But there's also Call It What You Want, the great song Song and Emotion, which is a tribute to Stephen Clark, guitarist from Def Leppard when he passed away. So it's a song that's a tribute to him. Freedom Slaves was a good one. What You Give, just to name a few. I forgot how good an album this is. I spun it a few days ago and I instantly went back to the early 90s. I think this came out in 91. It was such a good trip back. Here's the insert of the band's photo. Very nice back. Just the lyrics and credits and blah, 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 blah. This is a 2-record set. And my God, it sounds so good on vinyl. It's on the Geffen label. So there it is. This sounds spectacular. Sounded way better than my cassette did back in the 90s. And I just forgot how much I love this album. Back in the day, I would play the cassette to death till it actually broke my cassette deck. And I wish I hadn't waited so long to buy it again, but hey, at least I got it on vinyl. And this is a cool anniversary pressing, so very happy I have this. The second album I got from Tesla is a live record. It is called Mechanical Resonance Live. This is their first official album back in the late 80s. I had this on cassette as well, played it to death. It didn't get eaten up in the tape deck, it survived. I still have that tape actually, up there in my tape box. But this is the whole record performed in its entirety live, and really, really glad to have this one. There's the gatefold. It's a really cool thing to have. In here, some words written from Joe Elliott and Phil Collen of Def Leppard. I guess when this album first came out back in the 80s, Tesla was opening for Def Leppard back then. So I guess the bands remained friends, and so they wrote some nice words about Tesla here in the gatefold. This is a really good live recording. Really good live recording. I love listening to this. Again, this one took me back too, especially when you listen to Modern Day Cowboy, Changes. When you hear those songs, Too Late for Love, and oh man, Easy Come, Easy Go. Some good songs on here. Getting Better, Little Susie, Cover Queen. There's some great songs on here, and it's all live recording. And it's an enjoyable listen if you were heavily into 80s hard rock as I was, because I was in high school when this album first came out. So it's like going home again when I listen to this. There's the custom label that's on both records. It's a really nice looking custom label as well, and a very good live recording. If I want to be picky, I guess I could say, the lead singer's voice doesn't sound like it originally does on the cassette, but the cassette came out over 25 years ago. And he's an older man now, so naturally his voice is going to deepen a little bit, and you can hear it in this live recording. But I don't let that bother my enjoyment of the record, because it's a good live recording. The band still sounds really tight, and these songs still are performed with a lot of energy, so I'm really glad I picked up this live album from Tesla. Actually, both these albums just sound badass, so big upgrade to the Tesla collection. Really glad I scored those. Alright, last time I went to Amoeba, they have these series of live recordings under the series name of Access All Areas. I picked one up from OMD and picked one up from Steve Hackett. They both sound great. And saw one from Asia, so I went ahead and got it. So this is Asia from the Access All Areas series. These are live picture disc albums. And actually, let me take it. Hopefully you can see a little bit better there. Still in a sleeve, but at least it's not as the glow. It's a little easier to see here. And of course, the back is just the track listing. Really good live album. A lot of songs from their first album, Soul Survivor, Only Time Will Tell, Heat of the Moment. There's also a version of Don't Cry on here that sounds really good. Very good live recording, and they always come in picture discs. My other two did as well. And really like collecting these if I find the band really interesting. I've never owned anything live from Asia before, so I thought this would be a cool thing to get. I saw other live albums from Asia, but they were like 40 to 50 bucks. This is barely $20. But I'll just go with this, save myself some money. Really glad I did it, because this is a good live recording. Okay, once again, we'll keep the live recordings going. From John Cougar Mellencamp. This is entitled Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. It is a live recording from Bloomington, Indiana, 1984. I believe this was originally a radio broadcast put on 2 records. There's the back, nothing fancy. Picture of Mellencamp there in the gatefold. And yeah, I believe this was a live radio recording broadcast, and some really good stuff on here. And of course, the hits: Jack Diane, Crumbling Down, Authority Song, Need a Lover, Pink Houses. Those songs sound great on here. I'll say one thing: John Cougar Mellencamp does sound great live. I did have some CD bootlegs of his, so I already know how good he sounds live. I mean, he throws a lot of energy to the show. Those are the labels. That's how they all look. And this recording is no exception. Really good, energetic performances. Band sounds great. It sounds like the audience is having a great time on this. So this is a good album to listen to. So I'm really glad I picked it up. It wasn't that expensive. It's a 2-record set, and Mellencamp sounds great live. I mean, I wish there were some songs from the Scarecrow album on this, but this concert was the year before that album was even released. So, because Scarecrow is my favorite album from John Cougar Mellencamp, but this will do. This will do, and it's a really good live recording. Like I said, a lot of good energy from the band and from Mellencamp's vocals. It just sounded like they caught whatever radio station recorded has caught the band on a good night. Very energetic performance. Sounds very inspired too. So really glad I got that. Okay, every time I go digging in LA, I tell myself I'm not going to get any Genesis records because I got enough of those damn things. But I always see something interesting and I end up pulling the trigger like an idiot. So here we go. It's a Japanese pressing of the album Wind and Wuthering from Genesis. It even comes with the Obi strip. And it's funny, this was only 18 bucks. I found it in the bin, the Genesis bin, as I was thumbing through the Genesis records. And when I went to their Amoeba's wall in the Amoeba store, they have this wall at the back of the store of all the collectible rare stuff that's real pricey. They did have a copy of this on the wall for $40. Now when I've actually pulled this out of the record bin, they wanted 18 bucks for it. Now I'm sitting there looking at it, the one on the wall, and trying to see what the hell the difference is, and there wasn't any difference. They both have the Obi strip, they both look dead alike, they both look like they're in good shape. I didn't see a difference. It was like, one was 40, this was 18, so naturally I went with the 18. One of my favorite Genesis albums. I love to listen to this in the wintertime, so wintertime is coming upon us, so this will be a good album to spin during the wintertime. It always is. I love listening to this album in the wintertime. It's a good wintertime album. And so as soon as we get those kind of nights here, or kind of days here, I'm spinning this one. But always been one of my favorite Genesis albums. But then again, I like them all. So I can say that about every Genesis album. And the last one, since we're listening to Chris in Control, let's listen to some Dum Dum Girls. And this is a very rare EP from the Dum Dum Girls. I believe this came out in probably 2009 or 2010. It only has 4 songs on it. There we go. Which are, side A has the song Calf Licked, Yours Alone. Side B has Sock in it, and Hey Sis. And this came out in 2009, actually. It came out in 2009. Very rare Dum Dum Girls EP. And show you the actual vinyl itself. It does have some custom label on it. There we go. And there's the other side. So this was a rare find. I had wished I had taken this to my concert and had Chris in Control sign this for me. Because when I went to the Resident, what was cool about that little club in the arts district of downtown LA, before the show started, I could see Chris in Control having a cigarette with her guitar player, hanging out amongst the people, hanging out at the bar, hanging out with the DJ that was playing before the bands played, and she was approachable. So I went and just said hello to her and just said I liked the album, and she smiled at me and said thank you, and had a quick chat with her. I didn't want to bug her because I hate doing that stuff. Anyway, I wish I had got her to sign this. That would have been cool. One fanatic fan did that, and of course she was nice and signed it for him and had a little chat with him. So she's very friendly with her fans. Very friendly. She's a nice person, actually. It's nice when you meet that. When it's someone you admire, whose music you admire, you actually get a chance to meet them, and they're not a dick. They're actually really nice, genuine people, and that's how she was. So I was really happy to at least had a little chat with her. She's real pretty too. Anyway, her and Nigel was sort of just mingling with the people, the first night of the concert. Actually, both nights of the concerts I went to. And that was so cool. That was so cool. But anyway, rare EP from Down Home Girls was the last thing I scored Amoeba. Well, that's it, folks. That's my whole couple of days in LA, seeing some shows, digging for records. This is just what I pulled out of Amoeba. I actually went to a few other stores and pulled some more records. I'll show that in another video. This one's already long. Anyway, hope everyone's doing good. Leave me some comments. I'll chat with you. We'll talk. We'll chew the fat about records and music and Curse Control, Night Jewel, blah, blah, blah. Hope everyone's doing well. See you guys in the next one. Later, folks.